Hello, this is Uriah Guilford from Guilford Family Counseling, and today I want to talk to you about the 6 things you should definitely freak out about. The warning signs for trouble in the teenage years. So, most of the time, your job as a parent is to stay calm, parent with confidence, and remain connected to your son. This is no easy task for sure, but you roll with the punches and the ups and downs of this wild and wonderful ride of parenting your teenage son. However, sometimes you do need to freak out a bit. There are definitely things you should worry about. Now, don't sweat the small stuff is usually really good advice, but what about when things start to get serious? Here's what I'm talking about. There are usually small signs that can signal trouble. Not things that are worth freaking out about, but definitely worth paying attention to. For example, your son starts hanging out with a new group of friends, or he seems moody and irritable all of a sudden. Maybe he is starting to become withdrawn and isolating himself in his room, or his grades start to drop and he's not completing his homework like he used to. For the most part, these are pretty normal experiences of adolescence. When you should start to worry is when any of the following start to happen. Your son starts to drink alcohol, smoke pot, or use other drugs, and it becomes more than one-time experimentation. Or maybe you find out he's doing something more serious, even like cutting himself, otherwise known as self-harm, which is always a sign of distress. Or you have the parenting sort of instinct that he's struggling with maybe major depression or serious anxiety. You can see that he's trying his best to cope and cover it up, but it's just not working. Or maybe he seems addicted and overcommitted to playing video games to the point where other things are suffering in his life, like family relationships or grades. Or maybe he starts cutting school, or you find out he's sneaking out of the house at night. Or maybe you find out he's developed a habit of stealing or something serious like setting things on fire. I could come up with more examples, but I think you kind of get what I'm talking about. There's definitely a time to be concerned and also to take action. More than anything, you want your son to be healthy and happy. We all want that as parents. And you want him to navigate the teen years and become a successful young adult. At this point, the most important thing is not necessarily focusing on consequences or discipline, but rather figuring out what is really going on and getting your son some help. This is not an easy road to travel, but here are some suggestions for you to consider. The first one is talk to your spouse, your partner, or maybe close family members or friends. Start with your closest networks and ask for help and support. Talking to other parents of teenage boys can be reassuring and also give you some ideas that you might not have considered. If you happen to be religious, talking to your pastor, your priest, or rabbi could also be a good place to start. The thing is that you just need someone that you can trust to share your experiences with and also get some feedback about what's going on with your son and also with your family from a third party. The second suggestion here is consult with a professional. And whether you choose a parent coach or a licensed therapist, I think it's a really good idea to consult with a professional who can give you some solid guidance and also help you figure out some solutions. A professional will help you sort out the things that are kind of in the normal adolescent development category and separate those from other signs of more serious trouble or issues. You can also get support in improving your parenting approach, which always helps, and finding ways to help your son that will actually bring you closer instead of separating you. Third suggestion is get your son into individual or group counseling. If he's struggling in his life, there's a chance that he's not going to open up to you and tell you what's going on. He may not let you help him, but he may benefit from getting support from an experienced counselor. There are certainly challenges both in finding local counselors who specialize in working with teens and also in getting your son to agree to go, but it can really make a huge difference. I also believe that support groups are one of the best solutions for teenage boys because they can connect with and learn directly from their peers. With a good facilitator in charge, a support group can be a really excellent choice. Now, I recognize that counseling is not the only way to get a teenager back on course. Sometimes it's something like getting a part-time job, signing up for a sport, or changing schools. Sometimes that's the right way to go. But pursuing counseling should be on your short list for sure. And lastly, number 4 is consider an out-of-home placement. This is always a last-case scenario for most families, but sometimes finding an out-of-home placement is absolutely the right decision. So this might be a wilderness program, a therapeutic boarding school, a drug rehab program, or even possibly a military school. Sometimes the challenges are so significant that parents cannot provide the structure that's necessary. Now, this is always a tough decision, but it's worth considering if your other efforts have not been successful. I usually recommend connecting with a qualified educational consultant in your local area to get expert help in choosing the right placement. You can actually take a look at our referral list here at Guilford Family Counseling for good options in our area, and I'll give you the link right here. So if you're ready to take the next step, you can get in touch with us today and find out how counseling can help your teenager and your family. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day.